The normal range of carbon monoxide stretching frequency is from 1820 to 2150 per centimeter. Now, any decrease or increase in this stretching frequency can be explained or can be dedicated to the bond strength between carbon and oxygen. As I told you, if the bond between carbon and oxygen becomes weaker, it means the stretching frequency will go toward lower side. And if bonding between carbon and oxygen after bonding with metal center increases or it gets strengthened, then the frequency will go toward higher side. Now, such carbonyls uh, which have D0 system, they are called classical carbonyls because the start of this chemistry was the nickel carbonyls, and definitely nickel was in zero oxidation state. But this is not the zero oxidation state. D0 means classical carbonyls are those carbonyls where metal has no electron to be offered for back bonding with the metal center. So they are called classical carbonyls. Classical carbonyls are those carbonyls where back bonding is not expected, where back bonding is not possible. Now, this is, for example, another complex of zirconium, and Cp star is cyclopentadiene, and it is substituted, particular and specifically, it is methyl substituted cyclopentadiene species. So they are attached to zirconium, and two carbonyls are there. So the carbonyl frequency is 2057. Extremely weak frequency has been observed in case of iridium. Now look for zirconium and iridium, that where in periodic table these two elements fall. So for zirconium, 2254, 2276, and 2295 per centimeter. It means the nature of bonding between metal and carbonyl in this complex is this is different, because there is a bit difference between frequencies of carbonyls attached to same metal center. And if you look, even this frequency is more than the frequency observed for carbon monoxide, which is 2143, because the metal is electron deficient, and whenever electron density is shifted toward metal center, then oxygen will get its this addition electron pair in bonding, and bond between carbon and oxygen becomes further stronger at the expense of this electron donation toward metal center. So resultantly, this frequency which was observed for free carbon monoxide also increases. It means the bonding in such type of carbonyl is more stronger than free carbon monoxide. Exceptionally low carbon monoxide, the low frequency for carbon monoxide can be observed for negative oxidation state of metal center. And negative oxidation state of metal center, for example, if this metal is negatively charged, it means it is capable to donate electron to carbon through back bonding, or the metal will encourage the back bonding with the carbon. Therefore, the bond between metal and carbon will be multiple, and as multiple bond between metal and carbon is obtained, this bond order will decrease, and whenever this bond order decrease from triple to double, then the frequency between carbon and oxygen, or this bond frequency or vibration, will move toward low frequency. So this is the exceptional case for those species which have negatively charged. And here is one example of titanium hexacarbonyl titanate 2. And titanate 2, it gives frequency at 1747 per centimeter. This the free ligand 2143. This is actually a threshold or a limit. Below this limit, we can say that bond order between carbon and oxygen is reduced. Above this limit can be attributed to the fact that bond between carbon and oxygen further gets strengthened, or this bond order is relatively increased. So 1747 means the bond between carbon and oxygen is weaker as compared to the free ligand. And This will also give us an idea that short metal carbon bond and long carbon oxygen bond uh, means can be observed in between metal and carbon and between carbon and oxygen. Or this data gives us the idea that the bond between metal and carbon is shorter and bond between carbon and oxygen is longer, as I told you earlier. There are some other examples, and this is hexacarbonyl vanadate. So vanadium possesses negative 1 charge. Then hexacarbonyl chromium 0, because the oxidation state of chromium is 0, and hexacarbonyl manganese where the oxidation state is +1. So negative 1, 0, and +1. And in this case, the lower frequency has been obtained for the species which is negatively charged. Then the frequency increases, and here we can get the maximum value. So whenever we increase the negative charge, the carbon oxygen frequency will move toward lower limit, or it is inversely proportional to the negative charge on the metal complex or metal fragment. So increase in negative charge, decrease in frequency, and vice versa, or means increase in positive charge, it will move the metal center toward classical carbonyls, and in case of classical carbonyls we will get this metal, the carbon oxygen frequency at higher side. Here we have to use the per centimeter unit with all elements. These three elements, or these three metals, they belong to first transition series. Now when we compare the metal carbonyls of second and third transition series. So look these metals in periodic table, and definitely they are below these metal centers. But let's analyze them. Here we have negative charge, then +1, +2, and +3, and let's see how this trend is changed. Our metal, the carbon oxygen frequency changes. So in this case, which is the uh, carbonyl, where the overall charge on metal center is negative, and this negative means the back bonding will be encouraged by this metal center because of this increased electron density. So the frequency of carbon and oxygen is at lower side. Then whenever we increase the positive charge, or we decrease the electron density on metal center, so this metal is in +1 oxidation state, and drastically the frequency has changed. Then another positive charge we are adding to the system, and frequency further changes. Here we are adding another positive charge from +2 to +3, and frequency further changes. So if you analyze these systems, by adding one charge to metal fragment, metal ion, or even the complex fragment, then around about 100% change is observed in case of metal carbonyls. So you can go in forward direction as well as you can go in backward direction. So if we are decreasing positive charge on metals, so the frequency will decrease by around about 100%, and when we are increasing the positive charge, so frequency will increase by around about 100%. Also IR data can give us information regarding the nature of the carbonyl, where the carbonyl is terminal or bridged. In case of bridged carbonyl, we will have two types of carbonyls, doubly bridged and triply bridged. So doubly bridged carbonyls are those carbonyl ligands which are attached at the same time to two metal centers, and metal centers can be identical metals or can be different metal centers. Similarly, the carbon monoxide or carbonyl ligands can be triply bridged. The name indicates that triply bridged mean carbon monoxide attached at the same time to three metal centers. And once again, metal centers can be similar or can be different from each other. So in case of terminal, the frequency, as I mentioned earlier, that the range is from 1850 to 2125%. It can vary depending upon the nature of the metal center or other ligands attached to the metal center. While for doubly bridged, or the simply we can say that bridged carbonyls, the range then fall in to 1750 to 1850 per centimeter. And if carbonyl is triply bridged, then frequency range is from 1600 per centimeter to 1675 per centimeter. So whenever we are getting two or more than two types of frequencies in this range, that in 18 above 1800, below 1850, and below 1675, then we can decide that how many types of carbon monoxide ligands are attached to the metal center, or whether bridge exists or bridge does not exist. So in this case, this is the easiest way to determine the bridging nature of carbon monoxide ligands in a particular complex. So this is all about the IR data. And next technique is then NMR. So in case of NMR, this is quite a reliable and simple technique. So free carbon monoxide, or this carbon 13, we have to measure carbon 13 NMR for carbon monoxide. So it gives its value at 181 ppm. But whenever this carbon monoxide gets attached to metal center, so after complexation, the this frequency is shifted either downfield or upfield. So upfield is toward zero and downfield is toward higher frequency. So this is the full range for metal centers. For metal carbonyls from 180 to 250. 180 is quite closer to the frequency or the chemical shift observed for free carbon monoxide. It means there is very less change in bonding or in surrounding of carbon by complexation. And 250 means the surrounding of carbon has changed up to greater extent. So this is hexacarbonyl chromium complex, which gives the NMR chemical shift at 212. Then for iron it is 209, and for cobalt it is 204. Let's look at electronic nature of these species or these metal centers. So chromium is with chromium is the atomic number is 24, iron is 26, and cobalt is 27. If you look at d electrons, because all these systems are in zero oxidation state, so this is d4 system, this is d6 system, and this is d7 system. So if the electrons and d orbital increases, the NMR chemical shift move toward off field, and when electrons in the d orbital decreases, then the chemical shift changes to downfield. So increase in chemical shift, this is actually shifting to downfield. Decrease in chemical shift, so this is then shifting toward upfield. So this upfield and downfield, and in other words, we can say that whenever a metal is electron deficient, so in these three metals comparatively, we can say that chromium is electron deficient as compared to cobalt, because it possesses less number of electrons in its d orbit. So this is electron deficient, and this metal will give classical carbonyls, or carbonyls which are very close to classical carbonyls. Bake bonding will be less, and whenever bake bonding is less, it means the electronic density from carbon monoxide has been shifted to metal center, and metal does not participate in bake bonding. It does not offer electrons for bake bonding. Therefore, there is more change in electron density, sorry, in chemical shift of carbon 13. And same is the case for other species. In X-ray crystallography, this is direct structural characterization technique, and it gives us direct information whether the bond between metal and carbon is shorter or it is longer. So if the bond between metal and carbon is single, then it will be longer. If it is double, then it will be relatively shorter, and if it is triple, then it will be more shorter if we compare them with each other. And in the same way, we can also measure the carbon oxygen bond distance. So in this case, where the bond between metal and carbon is single, so the carbon oxygen bond will be shorter. In this case, where the carbon metal bond is double, so the carbon oxygen bond will become a little bit longer. And in this case, then the carbon oxygen bond will become longest, and it can give us the idea that whether the metal encourage the back bonding or it discourages the back bonding. So this metal will be electron rich, and there will be greater chances of back bonding, so multiple bond will be afforded. In this case also the metal will encourage back bonding and multiple bond is expected, while in this case the metal will be electron deficient, and in case of electron deficient metal we cannot expect back bonding, therefore carbon oxygen bond will become shorter. So next is the assignment. So collect carbon 13 NMR data for at least 10 metal carbonates and submit it by 22nd June 2000.